Darlington, a small town. Big secret, the old cremation ground, abandoned, forgotten. Or so they thought. The townsfolk whispered tales, stories of restless spirits, warnings ignored by the young and reckless. Darlington's secret was about to be unearthed. Meet Max, the ringleader. Bold, daring, never backed down from a challenge.
Logical, practical. But curiosity always got the better of me.
And Chris, the timid one, easily scared, but loyal to his friends. Halloween night, the perfect time to tempt fate. The iron gates creaked open. A warning, they ventured in.
The air grew heavy, cold. A shiver ran down our spines.
We walked deeper, the ground uneven, crumbling.
Each step echoed in the silence. We reached the crematorium, its doors boarded up. Sinister shadows danced within.
Max dared to touch the door, a jolt, cold, electric. They heard it, a whisper, faint at first, growing louder.
"Leave," it hissed.
The air grew colder. The shadows danced more violently. Fear gripped their hearts.
I felt a chill. This was no game. This was real.
The boards on the door flew inward, splintering wood echoing through the silence. The sound was deafening, shattering the stillness of the night. It was as if the very air held its breath, waiting for what was to come next.
Oh my God, what is that? Is it even human? I can't believe my eyes.
A figure emerged, tall, gaunt. Its eyes glowed red in the darkness. The glow was eerie, casting an unnatural light that seemed to pierce through the souls of those who dared to look. It was a sight that would haunt their dreams forever.
Look at its eyes. They're glowing. I've never seen anything like this before. It's like something out of a nightmare.
The stench of decay filled the air as the figure drifted towards them, its skeletal hand outstretched. The smell was overwhelming, a putrid mix of rot and death that made their stomachs churn. Each step it took seemed to echo with the weight of centuries.
"We need to get out of here, now. If we stay, we're doomed. We have to find a way to escape."
They screamed, time to run. Panic set in as they realized the gravity of the situation. Their hearts pounded in their chests, adrenaline surging through their veins. They had to move, and fast. The figure was getting closer, its presence a looming threat that promised nothing but doom. They stumbled over each other in their haste, desperate to put as much distance between themselves and the horror that had just been unleashed. The night was filled with their cries, a cacophony of fear and desperation. They knew that if they didn't escape now, they might never get another chance. The Guardian had awakened, and it was hungry. Section 6, Flight Through the Shadows.
Turn and run.
Max, Jenna, and Chris turned and fled. Adrenaline surged through their veins. They dodged crumbling headstones. Their breath came in ragged gasps.
Keep going, don't look back.
The figure glided behind them, its laughter echoed through the night. Closer, closer. They could feel its icy breath on their necks. There was no escape.
It's right behind us. Faster.
Section 7, A Brush with Death. This is a tale of terror, a moment when life and death danced on the edge of a knife.
"The gates, we're almost there. Hurry before it catches up to us."
They reached the iron gates, their last hope for salvation. Locked, desperation set in as they rattled the bars, their voices echoing in the night. Screamed for help, but the night swallowed their cries. The figure was upon them, its eyes burned into their souls, a cold, unrelenting gaze that promised no mercy.
Someone help us, please, anyone.
Suddenly the gates swung open with a creak that sent shivers down their spines. Was it a gust of wind or something else? They didn't dare to look back. Fear propelled them forward, their hearts pounding in their chests. They ran until their legs gave out, collapsing in a heap, gasping for breath. Safe for now, but the memory of those burning eyes haunted them.
Don't stop. Keep running. We can't let it catch us.
You can't escape. The voice echoed in their minds, a sinister whisper that promised their doom. The figure was relentless, a shadow that would never stop hunting them.
They found refuge in an old abandoned church. The heavy wooden doors creaked as they shut them behind. The air inside was thick with dust and the scent of decay. They huddled together, trying to calm their racing hearts. The silence was deafening, broken only by their ragged breaths.
Do you think we're safe here?
I don't know, but we can't stay out there. It's too dangerous.
They knew they couldn't stay hidden forever. The figure was out there, waiting, watching. They had to find a way to escape, to survive. The night was far from over, and the terror had only just begun.
We need to find a way out of here. We can't just sit and wait for it to find us.
You can't hide forever. The voice was closer now, almost as if it was inside the church with them.
They had to move to keep ahead of the darkness that pursued them. The night was their enemy, and the dawn their only hope. With renewed determination, they prepared to face whatever horrors awaited them outside those ancient walls.
Let's go. We can't let fear paralyze us. We have to keep moving.
And so they ventured back into the night, their hearts heavy with dread, but their spirits unbroken. The battle for survival had only just begun. Section 8. Scars of Fear. This is a tale of lingering dread, of memories that refuse to fade, and of shadows that haunt the corners of our minds.
Let's never speak of this night again. The words were whispered, almost as if saying them out loud would give the night more power over them.
They never spoke of that night, but the memory lingered. In their nightmares, in the shadows, they were changed, haunted. The events of that night etched themselves into their very souls, leaving marks that no one else could see, but they could feel every single day.
I can't shake this feeling of dread. It's like a weight pressing down on my chest, making it hard to breathe, hard to think. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the leaves outside sends my heart racing.
Max wasn't so bold anymore. His once confident stride had turned into a cautious shuffle. Jenna couldn't shake the feeling of dread. It clung to her like a second skin, making her jump at the slightest sound. Chris was plagued by night terrors. He would wake up in a cold sweat, his screams echoing through the silent house. The scars of fear ran deep, deeper than any physical wound could. They were etched into their minds, their hearts, their very beings.
Every night, the same terror, the same dark room, the same eerie moonlight casting long shadows, the same flickering candle that seemed to dance with a life of its own. The shadowy figure in the distance, always watching, always waiting. It was a nightmare they couldn't escape, a terror that followed them into the waking world.
The nights were the worst, but the days were no better. The fear was always there, lurking just beneath the surface. It affected everything they did, every decision they made. They were prisoners of their own minds, trapped in a never-ending cycle of fear and anxiety. They tried to move on, to forget, but the scars of that night were too deep. They were a constant reminder of the terror they had faced, a reminder that no matter how hard they tried, they could never truly escape.
I don't know how much longer I can take this. The fear is consuming me, eating away at my sanity. I feel like I'm losing myself, like I'm becoming a shadow of who I used to be.
They were all losing themselves, bit by bit. The fear was changing them, turning them into something unrecognizable. They were no longer the people they once were. They were survivors, yes, but at what cost? The scars of fear had left them broken, haunted, and forever changed. Section 9. The whispers remain. Darlington's secret remained. The whispers continued. The old cremation ground stood silent, waiting. Some say the whispers are getting louder, a warning to those who dare to listen. The whispers of the cremation ground.